Alright coaches, we're going to be checking out a little progression that I use for teaching to new athletes, or a progressional series, I suppose, that I progress these guys through when they're learning their Olympic weightlifting. So the snatch and the clean and jerk. This can also be used to dial guys back that have got faults in their lifting, that are pulling from the floor or pulling through that extended range that we can address. So super effective. That high hang, I absolutely love it. Getting guys to do this and strip back their lift, so they haven't got that pull or that momentum to bump their hip out against the bar in something like the snatch, or they've got issues with a low contact in their clean. That high hang position is beautiful at exposing that. So Emily is going to find her snatch grip. So figuring that out, there's obviously a different means for people to figure out their snatch grip width, but finding that position by bending over through the hip, finding the straight elbow position, and then that bar is sitting nicely in her hip crease for a snatch. So a couple of little things I want to focus on coaching wise. We want to internally rotate the elbow. So she's going to screw elbow pits in facing her rib cage. That's going to cause her shoulder to roll in a little. I want to now pull those shoulders back. So she's working hard on rotating. It's torquing the tricep. So the tricep is engaged now, helping keep those arms long. So it's going to prevent any early arm bend, but it's also going to help engage through the lats, through her shoulder position being pulled back, and keeping the barbell close to the body. If I got Emily to do rotate out, so super common for people to set up, pulling from the floor, and rotate those elbow pits open. So if I get Emily to do a high pull there, do here, keep those elbow pits open. Now turn the elbows in, do a high pull. So much easier for Emily to get that elbow high and outside position. So usually when those elbow pits are facing forward, we usually see that disconnection and the barbell separating from the body. Okay, so keeping that elbow close, elbow rotated in. That is number one. Knuckles are down, so she's got that hook grip in, those knuckles are down as well. So we haven't got a hitch or loading through the wrist or through the forearm. So from here, Emily's got feet underneath hips, so she's in that pulling stance. We want to rotate the toes out a little bit. So this will just help when she's dipping the knees forward and out. It'll stop her rolling onto the outer soles of her shoes. If we've got a little bit of toe pointed out, it's a little bit more comfortable to keep those knees tracking forward and out. Sometimes there's a personal preference as to how far these guys want to go out with their toes. We don't want to be too excessively pointed out, but just find that happy medium where they are comfortable. So Emily's found pulling stance, feet underneath hips. She's in a strong position. She's working hard on rotating those elbows in. Rib cage is locked down. She's filled her diaphragm. So big thing, we want to try to fill the belly with the breath. Big breath in, we've filled the belly, we're locking it down, and then there's a little chest breath to let the pressure in and out before she lifts. So diaphragm's locked down. I'm going to get Emily to dip, knees forward and out, and hold. So doing a really good job of staying vertical here. I'll just get Emily to turn to the side, so just shuffle around, and dip knees forward and out. Great, that is our high hang position that we want to be pulling from or driving from in our snatch. So those legs are loaded, our shoulders are ready to go, our hips are ready to go to hit that triple extension. Stand back up please, Emily. Really common, if we get our guys to dip knees forward and out, we give them that high hang cue, their hip comes back. So just show us that, Emily. Awesome, so Emily has shot her hips back, and we've got loading sort of into what we would probably determine more of our mid-hang position. So her bar's actually left her hip crease because her knees have shot down, and her hip has also gone back. So not the position we want to be hitting, especially if we're looking for our athletes to address that bump out, the correction there. That is going to bump the barbell out past our center of mass. So again, what I would do to correct that is get my guys to lock your glutes as tight as you can. So squeeze your bum as tight as you can, Emily. Keep that tension, Emily, and I want you to dip knees forward and out. Awesome. That is our high hang position. She's ready to go. Okay, so from here, it's a jump and a catch. So dip straight down and hold, please, Emily. Weights through our midfoot. So Emily's balanced here. We haven't got more weight on the toes, more weight on the heel. It's super balanced. She's ready to jump and catch. She's rotated that elbow in. She's pulling the shoulder back. The rib cage is down. And power snatch, go. And receive. Awesome. Cool. You can turn and face us now, please, Emily. Sweet. So another little thing to think about when we are transferring up and overhead with the barbell. We've looked at that internal rotation through the elbow. If we think about the path of progression to get the bar overhead, I can bring those elbows high and outside, and then I pull myself under the bar. That elbow position is going to stay in the best shape to get elbow pits to the ceiling. So when my guys are receiving the bar, and they've done a really good job of connecting this cue and rotating those elbows in, they can get into a really stable catch position overhead with the barbell, elbow pits to the ceiling, showing us their armpits. Okay, really common fault again in that receive is those elbow pits rolling forward. Okay, so we've got that instability through our upper back. We rotate on the bar, we're breaking that bar in half, we've set that scap super stable, and we're in a really stable catch position. So I'm going to get Emily to focus on that for me, keeping those elbows rotated in. I just noticed in that last catch, she caught slightly forward with the elbow pit. So we're going to try and address that. So let's rotate in, pull the shoulders back, rotate in again. Cool, dip knees forward and up, and go. Hold. Good, break that bar. And stand. Nice work. She did a much better job of correcting that. Let's do a couple more reps in. Dip, rotate in, and go. And one more time. Dip, and go. Great. Good job. Okay, so from here, once we've got consistency with this progression, we're doing an awesome job of loading through the legs. We've got that vertical torso. It's a big, strong jump and a catch. We can look to add that range of motion. So we can start that hinge point. So my next protocol after I've knee dipped is a hip hinge. So dip, I start shooting those hips back towards the wall behind me. And we're gonna load through mid-hang to start. So right on that mid-thigh. So let's go in. All right, finding those points of performance, fill the diaphragm, we've dipped, hinge, pause. Great, so here, working hard to keep the weight balanced in the midfoot. I know Emily, with her snatching, she has a tendency to, in the hang position, when we transition past the knee, to roll back into her heel and lift her toes off the floor. So Emily gets this opportunity now that we've got this hang position, or mid-hang position in this case, to work hard on pressing her feet hard into the floor and thinking about leg pressing the ground away. So staying as balanced as she possibly can through the floor. Okay, so from here, if we just do this as a strict movement, we're just going to open back to our high hang. Great, so we've just pulled those shoulders back. Remembering, it was a knee dip to a hip hinge, so to get back up, we need to open that hip hinge before we extend those knees. It's a little progression for us to think about. So hinge back down, Em. Good, and open back up. Hinge back down. All the while she's thinking about still leg pressing that ground away, I'm gonna get you to power snatch this next one. And hinge, and go. Great, good timing. Let's go one more. Dip, hinge, elbows in, weights balanced through the midfoot, and go. Awesome, good job. Okay, so we think about every position from our high hang down. So if it's mid hang, it could be our hang position top of the knee, could be low hang, or it could be from the floor. All we are trying to do is bring that barbell to our high hang. Okay, and doing that with intention and keeping our timing between our hips, our shoulders, and our knees. So let's go back down again and we'll take a look at the hang and then we'll tie in the low hang as well. So Emily's going to look at that hinge, dip and hinge for me, Em. Down to the top of the knee this time. Good, so she's got shoulders in front of the bar. Really nice back angle here, and she's just thought about the cue of continuing to push the hips or butt to the wall behind her. The knee dip's already happened at the top. top. We've got to continue hinging until we find that hang position on top of the knee. Let's go for a power snatch. Go. Great. So she's done a really good job of being patient, keeping her feet grounded, lifting that chest or opening that hip hinge before she gets to that high hang where she can jump and catch. Let's go dip, hinge to the top of the knee. Okay, so now this is where we'll introduce our second knee bend. So from the high hang, we've knee dipped, we've hip hinged to the hang. Now we're gonna re-knee bend to go into our low hang. Pause. Okay, so great. So Emily's gone a little bit lower to mid-shin. That would be a pulling position from the floor. The low hang is just below the knee there, and we've added a little bit of a knee bend. So Emily from this position is gonna have to navigate around that knee. So she's gonna have to just push the knee back and out a little bit as she rises, and then snatch. Great. Relax. Cool. So that is where we generally get tripped up, or our athletes trip up. Something to be really mindful of is that navigation around the knee. And usually the pull from the floor to the hang position is where the muddle up happens, and that sets us up for failure later on in the lift. Okay, so looking at that low hang, it's a really awesome position to drill because it challenges your athletes to think about pushing those knees back and out just slightly to get back to your hang position. Otherwise, we find ourselves pulling around the knee, and now my chest is too far open, and I'm out of timing. My shoulders are almost ready to extend, my hips aren't even close, and my knees aren't ready to go. But if I extend early, I'm gonna jump forward, I'm gonna bump that bar forward, and I'm likely gonna miss that lift. So let's take another look at that, Em. Working from the top down, so I'll always get these guys to work, again, if we're finding that low hang position, or even when they're really learning that floor shape, always start from the top, because we re-drill these. Every single time we do it, we're getting more and more reps in. Dip, hinge, slight bend, pause. Okay, so now I'm gonna get Emily to come up and pause top of the knee. Good, she's found that hang, go back below the knee. Back to the top. Back angle staying the same. She's doing an awesome job of maintaining that. All that's happening is that she's just pushing those knees back and out slightly to keep that bar path straight. Go back below. Good. Come up and snatch. Good. Awesome rep. Sweet. So Emily's shown me that she's got consistency and competency to navigate around that low hang and move past the knee. We're going to take a look at the mid-shin position. So back from the top again. I'm just going to finish off with one rep here. Finding those points of performance. Dip, hinge, knee bend. Keep going down a little lower, pause. She's in an awesome setup position, weights balanced through the midfoot, her back set and ready to go. We're gonna slow pull, pause top of the knee. Go. Stand, good job. Awesome. So when we're relearning or going through to build consistency from the floor, I love a pause or a halt at top of the knee. It means that we can check and look at our positioning. So if I've pulled from the floor and I've got to here, my shins aren't vertical. If I've got a bit of a knee bend going on, I'm loading through the quads, I know that I need to make that correction, and I've probably pulled around my knee a little bit. Or vice versa, I'm too far back, pushed my hammies back, and now I've got a lot of loading going on through my lower back instead of through my legs. So I need to think about that leg press cue. So continuing to press away through the floor, getting that bar up, pushing those knees back and out of the way enough to keep the bar straight, and then opening that hinge before I jump and catch and that power receive or squat receive. Okay, that's a little progression that I love to implement with my guys, teaching them right from the top position, from that high hang, to build consistency and that leg drive and consistency in our positioning as we progress through for the snatch.
Thank you for watching, and if you found that helpful and you want more of this kind of content, we have literally hundreds of videos just like this, from practical tips and tricks to theory to everything in between, all in the knowledge. And if you want to learn from me directly and our cohort of level 4 staff members, then we also have the Knowledge Pro, which we do weekly calls and live interaction and homework and everything else in between. If you want any more information or would like to have a free trial of the knowledge, please click the link in the description below and get after it.